story of the Ugly Duckling. Proud Mother Duck watched her beautiful babies hatch. One by one, they cracked through their eggshells.
Beep, beep.
They cried.
What a large word this is.
So it seemed to them after such a long time in an eggshell. Only one egg remained, the largest. Mother Duck wondered if it would ever hatch. At last, the egg cracked. Out toddled the largest, ugliest duckling Mother Duck had ever seen. She nudged him into the water with the rest and loved him just the same.
Perhaps it's really a turkey,
said an elderly duck.
Looks like a turkey to me,
shouted a drake. The poor ugly duckling, embarrassed and ashamed, ducked his head under the water as Mother Duck hurried her flock along. The next day, a proud Mother Duck showed her fledglings around the barnyard.
What lovely ducklings,
said the fanciest duck in the yard.
Arr!
Except for that ugly duckling. Get him out of my sight. The ugly duckling hung his head low.
What should it matter what I look like?
He asked his mother as she wrapped her wings around him in comfort. After that, the duckling's brothers and sisters turned against him.
Why can't you look like the rest of us?
Claimed one sister.
I wish the cat would take you,
cracked his brother. Even Mother Duck began to feel ashamed that her ugly duckling did not look like the others.
Why can't you accept me as I am?
Replied the ugly duckling. Life grew harder for the ugly duckling. The others pecked and teased him constantly, until one day, feeling very much alone, he scrambled over the barnyard fence and landed in a flock of songbirds.
Help!
Cried the songbirds.
A monster is after us! I may not look like you,
said the ugly duckling,
but I am no monster. I'm just different.
But his explanation did not stop the songbirds from running away, and the ugly duckling was left alone again. As time passed, leaves changed to yellow and the grass to brown. One day, while wandering through a grassy field, the duckling came upon a flock of wild geese. He wondered if these new creatures would accept him as he was. But before the duckling could try to make friends, shots sounded from hunters' rifles and scattered the flock. The ugly duckling hid alone in the tall weeds until it was safe for him to move on. The ugly duckling finally settled on a small, secluded pond. As the wind grew colder, the water turned to ice, and he had to keep swimming so he would not freeze. Every night his circle of water grew smaller and smaller. It was a long, cold winter, and the ugly duckling felt more alone than ever. One night, as the ugly duckling waddled through the melting pond, he heard a cry. From the bushes in a nearby field rose a flight of the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. They were dazzling white with magnificent wings. Their long necks bent gracefully as they flew away. The duckling could not imagine what creatures they might be. He knew these exquisite beings would only run from him too. Watching them took his breath away. As spring arrived, the duckling noticed that the flowers were in bloom and the grass and leaves turned green again. He had also been growing and changing. The ugly duckling heard the robins singing and felt the warm sunshine on his body. He stretched his wings to feel the radiant day, and to his surprise was lifted into the air, floating on a high wind. He gracefully landed in a serene lake beside a beautiful orchard. Nearby swam 3 beautiful long-necked birds. He recognized them as the elegant creatures he had seen before. The ugly duckling felt sure these beautiful birds would chase him away, but they simply bowed their long necks in a friendly greeting. I shall bow too, he thought, and when he did, he saw with amazement that he looked just like the other birds.
A new swan,
squealed a little girl on a nearby bank.
More beautiful than the rest.
The ugly duckling had transformed into a magnificent swan, and he proudly joined the flock, but he never allowed the beautiful birds to call those who were different from them ugly.